안녕하세요 and good morning. It is always a great honor for me to come and meet with our customers here in Seoul. And it's always a great privilege to be able to respect next generation technology that only comes from Korea. I'm an old guy, and it means I've had the privilege of being part of the IT industry for 40 years. I've seen every generation of IT since the mainframe, which means for most of you, you need to ask your grandfather what that means. And I have never in my career seen a technology that has the opportunity to impact our lives, our businesses, our communities, and our countries as much as the AI opportunity presents to us today. So how do we capture that opportunity for our society and our company's benefit? How do we manage the risks associated? And more importantly today, how do we practically implement strong AI-based solutions that benefit with minimum risk? Well, the good news is that here in South Korea, you already recognize the significant opportunity from an economic perspective that AI can deliver, with a very significant economic benefit assessed to come to South Korea in the near future. And with no surprise to anyone in this room, that benefit comes to the industries that already have global strength for Korea. This is a tremendous motivation for investment in innovation and technology that can benefit your customers, your families, and the rest of the world. But that benefit doesn't come by accident. Any technology which touches us as humans, as well as employees, needs careful management and clear strategy. And as a result, enterprise AI is emerging as an important characteristic of business strategy, not only business operations. What does that mean for us? Well, it means that whilst today, each and every one of your organizations has for sure an R&D project or many R&D projects around enterprise AI, generative AI, large language models, those mainstream applications that touch our customers, our partners, and our supply chains have not yet clearly emerged. So we have an opportunity before us to harness the power of all of the information we have today, applied with and through generative AI and large language models to benefit our customers. That's not a trivial exercise, as I'm sure you are aware, because the impact of generative AI and large language models has the very real possibility of creating harm, not only good. And when we reach the point, as we will, that large language models are being delegated business decision-making, whether to approve a healthcare claim, to detect financial fraud, to schedule a manufacturing plant, then we know we must exercise considerable care. And I hope that each of you in this room are justifiably proud that South Korea is recognized and acknowledged as one of the world's top 10 cultures and countries ready to adopt enterprise AI. In fact, number 7 in the world, up from number 22 only 12 months ago. And in part, this comes from leadership from the South Korean government that recognizes three channels of change that enterprise AI can unleash. To unleash creativity, building upon the amazing game technologies and entertainment industries here in Korea. To accelerate discovery, which makes so much sense to me since South Korea is clearly the most engineering-oriented and passionate cultures in all of APJ, perhaps in fact in all of the world. And using enterprise AI to help accelerate the pace of discovery and invention helps drive that pace of innovation for which South Korea is so well known. And then lastly, something which applies to all industries and all people is to improve operational efficiency. Now, in some cases, if you're in an administrative role, in an office function, as I am, that efficiency comes from better access to information, easier analysis of data, more effective decision-making support. For some industries, the efficiency gains can be dramatic. And again, using the healthcare example, using a large language model to help doctors make better, faster, and more accurate diagnosis is undoubtedly an amazingly powerful opportunity that no one in the world is yet fully capturing for the benefit of our communities. So South Korea has a strategy. It is well developed, it's world leading, and of course you have the technology capability as a country and as communities to take full advantage. I would suggest far faster than the majority of other cultures around the world. And that's very good timing for you. I hope it's also very good timing for VMware, of course. But customers increasingly expect us to deliver a level of service in enterprise applications that mirrors the experience they have using public large language models, like the English language Llama 2 or ChatGPT, which I'm sure many of you have tried. And I fully recognize there are significant national efforts in South Korea to develop a Korean community large language model to match those capabilities to your culture. However, as consumers, especially as innovation consumers like you, we have little patience. We want these applications to be available now. We want better customer service. We want better decision making. We want more innovation. And therefore, as enterprises, getting our AI applications to scale becomes very important. I believe that the time for research alone has moved, and that now customer and market expectations are for us to deliver capability at scale. And that's because everyone wants access to the outcomes, whether that's internally in business or externally in the community. So the technology is ready. South Korea has a strategy. The market and customer expectations are high, so we have some work to do to fulfill those expectations. And there are a number of use cases that are illustrated here from a report that's only from August this year from Access Partners, supported by the Korean Chamber of Commerce, that identifies specific identified use cases for enterprise AI and large language models for the South Korean community. And you can see, as you are already well aware, that it means our applications need to meet customers' expectations, scale well, maintain privacy, and deliver accurate outcomes. And for anyone in this room that's been working in this field directly, you know that getting a quick answer is quite easy in any model. Getting an accurate answer that is up to date is difficult. I leave you with an example. The public-facing free version of ChatGPT that anyone in this room can access, and I appreciate that it's an English language large language model, but it is quite well known, will respond to you, to any question you ask it, with a line at the bottom that says, this information is up to date as of 2021. If you think about the context of the world today, including the conflicts in Ukraine and in the Middle East, these are relevant factors that influence economic outcomes, political decisions, community cares. And so here is an enormously powerful large language model that is increasingly of little use because it's not up to date. And as I'm sure you are well aware, keeping a large language model up to date becomes a critical consideration for any investments that you make in your own enterprise AI. Well, how do we get there? One thing I do know from my long experience in IT is that we travel a very similar path in every technology generation. The first thing we do is ask ourselves the question, should I build this all myself? This I consider to be the default Korean answer. You are such an engineering culture. You are so passionate about your own in-house innovation. This is understandably a natural path for the early stages of many Korean organizations. And it has delivered for you tremendous economic and social benefits. But at a certain point in time, the investment in managing technology is out of the scope of the job that we're all here to perform, which is to serve customers. So in some cultures, in some countries, and at different times in the technology maturity curve, we end up in a situation of thinking, well, if I just buy a solution from one vendor, everything will be okay. This, of course, is absolutely what you as Korean customers really, really hate. You don't like lock-in. You prefer to consume open source where possible. You like the flexibility of choice, and that is completely understandable. But can we find a balance here? Is there a time for very specific proprietary investment that you make in your own technology? Yes, for sure. But when you've proved that technology, perhaps there are solutions that you can buy from different vendors that help you achieve production scale. And from a VMware point of view, we think of this as leveraging a multi-cloud platform. Noting that multi-cloud here does not necessarily imply public cloud, but the VMware cloud platform also delivering similar capabilities on-premise in your own data center. So at the start, we can recognize there's room for both investment internally in R&D, and there are emerging solutions from VMware and others that can help deliver the application at scale. Now, I'm sure all of you think about how do I manage my cost, information privacy, and deliver scale. And whilst that is always important in every enterprise application, there are some unique considerations when it comes to AI. First of all, of course, the most valuable applications to which you will apply AI are likely based upon the most strategic data. And it's very unlikely that any global enterprise will be comfortable shipping their most strategic data to an external entity, whether that's a cloud service provider or a managed service provider. So we see very clearly in conversations with customers all around the world that enterprise AI-based applications are most likely to be built and deployed on-premise in a customer data center, or at least in a hardware and platform stack you own and physically control. This is, of course, not only good business practice and good risk management, but it's also, I think, essential in the context of the potential negative impacts that AI applications could have, given that AI-based applications work best when they have access to the most amount of data. So whilst these considerations are always important, they're even more important in an AI context. And the good news is, again, as I'm sure you are aware, the regulatory environment and government policies in South Korea strongly encourage a recognition of these factors and strongly encourage you as Korean enterprises to bear these issues and considerations in mind. And I know that if you are primarily a technologist, it's quite possible you think this is not very interesting to me. This is not Python and R, and I'm not dealing in matrix multiplication, and this is not a technology conversation. And that's true, it isn't. But it is one of the rare circumstances where, as technologists, we have an obligation to society that goes beyond the technology itself. And it is completely possible to bring these two together in a way which is acceptable to communities and delivers a great business outcome as well. And therefore, I believe all of us will become more familiar with these community concerns as well as the technology as we start to scale enterprise applications. The result of all of this conversation, the emergence of technology, the economic value to communities and countries, the opportunities it presents for innovation and creativity, and the risks that need to be managed in order for us to be successful, is why VMware views the idea of private AI as an incredibly powerful construct for customers to be able to capture innovation quickly, but safely. And during today, you will hear from VMware experts about reference architectures, solution elements, and case studies that help substantiate this idea of private AI. But I think it's useful at the simplest level I introduce you to what VMware means by private AI. We consider it an architectural approach, technology architectural approach, that balances the business gains with the need for privacy and compliance inside an organization. And in so doing, we can provide a platform that helps you address the risks identified in the South Korean policy document and that are acknowledged worldwide as being considerations we must take care about. So if we think from a privacy point of view, we also want choice in technology because no one wants to be locked in. We must be cost effective, and for sure, customer experience in public cloud is not uniformly about being less expensive. There's a balance. We have to deliver performance. If we're going to deliver consumer-facing large language model applications, response time needs to be good. And response time has a strong correlation with the underlying hardware, CPU, storage, and network. And lastly, as I said, we need to take care of compliance. Putting all of that together in a platform is no small task, but that's VMware's responsibility. And since many, if not most of you, are VMware customers, for which I thank you very greatly, then I know you expect us to enhance the investments you've already made to support the enterprise AI endeavors to build a private AI specific for your organization. And therefore, building upon the vSphere platform enhancing that with partnerships, like our partnership with NVIDIA, going to the application level involving the Greenplum Data Store, GPU acceleration, storage technologies. We can start to bring together the complex parts of a platform that will, as you saw in the video, allow your teams to focus more on the business outcome and application development and spend less time focused on the infrastructure and the platform. Today's sessions primarily focus on this middle line, in particular on how we apply deep learning to a data environment and how in the future we can link that more strongly to GPU acceleration to get performance and cost performance more effectively. Two of the sessions later today cover these two slides in great detail. From a data point of view, we believe we have a lot to contribute to many of you by recognizing that one of the opportunities you have in enterprise AI that does not exist in consumer AI is the fact you already have significant enterprise data stores. And typically, but not always, a significant amount of that is well structured. If we look at the complexity of a public-facing large language model like ChatGPT-4, the commercial version, there are over 1 trillion parameters involved in inferring the answer to the question that you asked. And one of the reasons that there are so many parameters is that the quality of the data on the public internet, which is used to source the content, is conflicting and unreliable and ambiguous. And therefore, considerable work must go into trying to identify what is correct and real and true. And as a result, we end up with a public-facing ChatGPT being 2 years old because the cost of retraining that model is too expensive to refresh on a regular basis. So that makes consumer-facing large language models complex and difficult, not because of the technology in particular, but because of the data source. Let's look at that on the enterprise side, where a significant amount of your data is already structured, and you know what that data means and represents. And because it's in a structured form in many cases, you already have the metadata that describes what the data is that you have stored. So in our strongly held but somewhat humble opinion, we believe that you can leverage that existing structured data, build enterprise AI, enterprise scale applications based upon that data, and take those applications to market significantly faster, with much greater accuracy, and maintained far more easily than a typical consumer-facing large language model. There is a particular session from Ivan, our global product manager, that comes after my talk. This comes together, I think, because of one of the laws of nature. Well, let's say one of the IT laws of nature, which is the idea of data gravity. There are customers in this room, which we are very proud to call our customers, that run petabyte scale data stores using our technology. Any large language model you build for your enterprise AI applications will be more capable, more accurate, and more reliable if it uses all of that data. So it's unlikely you're going to ship petabytes of data out of that data store to some other place to perform your model training and inference. We believe we've got a very good solution to help you embed, train, and infer using your existing data stores, structured and unstructured, that will help you get to market faster and less expensively. And all of that comes together under the framework of private AI and the reference architecture that allows you to create, model, assist, and deploy cost-effectively and in a timely fashion. Now, back to my earlier point, I know very well that Korean customers do not like to be locked in. And equally, VMware wishes to be an open platform and partner strongly with other technology and service providers. We are investing strongly in a private AI open ecosystem in order to encourage all forms of partnerships, hardware, software, application, public cloud, and particular AI technologies to participate. The choice is absolutely yours. And we are optimistic that we can simplify the architecture that helps you accelerate this time to market. And that reference architecture is something that we'll share in a session later today. And that will be applicable whether you choose to run this in your own data center or a partner data center, or whether you choose to run it in public cloud, or very commonly in some combination over time. Any cloud, perfectly fine by us. And as a result, we truly believe that you will find that you'll be able to build, and deploy, and get value from enterprise AI applications, not in months, and not in weeks, and not in days, but in minutes. And I encourage you over the next few weeks to test us on this proposition. I have done the unbelievable thing and finished 3 minutes early. I'm very proud of myself. I hope you enjoyed the session. Lovely to meet you all, and please enjoy the rest of today. Thank you very much.